If you're spending an hour plus making a watch list, you're doing it wrong. Hey, I did it too. When I first started out, I spent so much time wasted, okay? In this video, I'll show you how I build my trading watch list in under 10 minutes every morning. And I'm not looking at 100 stocks, just a handful with the real potential. This is a simple, fast system I use daily. And hey, you can steal it. I hope you steal it, okay? So the very first step is start with a scanner, okay? You gotta be scanning for criteria. You know, we're looking for low price stocks, typically 1 to 10%, millions of shares traded, okay? We're looking for big moves, big percent gains, etc. And that's where you're gonna start. Now, a lot of times people will say, stock's already up big. Where's the potential? Understand that and write this one down, the biggest gainers early become the biggest gainers. Now, I know that can kind of be confusing, but a stock can't move, and this is so many people overlook. They see something up 20% and they're like, oh, I missed it, it's all over. Not in these types of stocks. And understand, and I know this is, some of you might be like, yeah, no kidding, Tim, but like a stock can't move 200% without moving 20 to 30 to 40, 50% first. It's, you know, it can't like jump in a wormhole and go from 1% to 200. It has to be up big to attract the buyers, to attract the interest, to then make that second, or a lot of these stocks make that third leg second. So don't be afraid of biggest gainers. Start there. Like when I start each day, first thing I do is looking at the biggest gainers from the day before and the biggest gainers that same day. That's where you start. If a stock is up 1 or 2%, there's no buyer interest. There's nothing unusual, nothing anybody cares about. So now you buy that stock, or you waste time putting it on your watch list, and then it just goes to 3% or 4%. Good luck making any appreciable money, especially with a small account, on single-digit percent moves. Start out with the biggest percent gainers from the previous day and the current day. Next is we're going to be checking the float and the volume. And we're going to align those to look for something called float rotation. So when you're running your scan, I'm going to tell you, always be looking for less than 10 million shares in the float. Now, sometimes people will scan for outstanding shares. I never scan for outstanding shares. I care about the freely tradable shares that can be exchanged hands that day. That's the float, okay? If shares are locked up in institutions or compensation plans or any of these other things that will add to the outstanding shares, I don't care about that. I want the supply today. As a day trader, swing trader, short-term trader, we're looking for supply and demand imbalances. That's what we want to look for. That's like, ultimately, that's our job. Our job as short-term traders is trying to find stocks that have unusually high demand and the lowest possible supply there is. And that's what creates explosive moves in any asset class. I mean, it could be housing, it could be used cars, it could be oil, it could be coffee, it could be any asset that people buy and sell. The ones that flatline are the ones that have equilibrium between supply and demand. The ones that fade, you know, an asset class that goes lower, that has a lot of supply and not enough buyers to push that higher. So we're always looking for supply and demand imbalances. And if you have a low float stock trading high volume, it's going to be rotating the float, which means there's more buyers than there are shares for them to buy, which creates explosive moves. Next is we need news, catalyst, okay? Now this one I often get pushback from a lot of people because they will see the occasional no news runner. And it happens, you know, roughly once a week, there's a huge runner that moved on no news. Now, it happens about once a week. And a lot of people will push back on me for this, you know, looking for a reason behind the move and catalyst. And they'll say, what about this one? My instant reply is, okay, are you trying to grow your account on a daily basis? Are you trying to collect a daily paycheck? Typically they say yes. And I'm like, then I reply, okay, do you think you can grow your account or collect a daily paycheck, live as a trader, focusing on outliers. Like, is that an efficient way to accomplish your goal? Looking for something that happens once a week, maybe. Sometimes it doesn't happen at all. Sometimes it's a couple times a month. So as someone that's looking, whether your priority is to grow a small account so you can eventually look for a daily paycheck like I do, looking at outliers does not accomplish that goal. Next, we're looking for breakouts on multiple time frames. So all of you should be looking for support resistance levels on 3 different time frames: a short term, a midterm, and a long term. Now, you're free to use whatever time frames you want. What I've used for probably 15 years-ish, started trading 20 years ago, took me 3 or 4 years to get profitable. Hopefully these videos, YouTube didn't exist back then. I couldn't watch videos like this. But if YouTube did exist, it probably wouldn't take me 3 to 4 years to get profitable. But about the last 15 years, I've been using the 5-minute, 2-day chart. Now, another thing I get pushback on, people love 1-minute candles. Some people like to use 10-second candles. I don't want to be zoomed that in. I think it's too much noise. There's just too much going on. Too many fake outs, too many fake out breakouts, fake out breakdowns. Like, you're just zoomed in too much. Now, again, use what you like. Now, it took me a few years to get to the point. I was using 1-minute candles forever. And once I switched to 5, it just kind of lowered the temperature in the room. And I felt better about trading, and the results followed because of that. Now, midterm, what I use is the 15-minute, 2-month. Now, one time frame that I did use for several years when volatility was lower was actually the 1 hour. I used to use the 1 hour, 2-month. I would say I probably quit that about 2020 when things really got bananas around COVID, etc. But for years, I was very happy with that 1 hour candle and on the 2-month chart to have that midterm timeline. Now, since COVID, since things have gotten way more volatile, like a lot of you guys that aren't 1,000 years old like I am, you think stocks have always been like this, the way they've been the last 5 years. The first 15 years of my trading career, completely different market. Like you can look at pre-2020 and post-2020. It's like, in the trading world, it's like BC and AD. It's like there's this stark line in history that if you're a historian, you can look at the BC world and the AD world, and it's completely different. So since 2020, 15-minute, 2-month, and then the 1 day, 1 year. Now, a lot of the times people like to zoom out even more. I don't have a problem with that. It's just with these low price stocks, a lot of them haven't been trading that long. A lot of them were just dormant for years. So I don't see that much value when we're talking short-term trading, day trading and swing trading. That's what we're talking here, and going back to a year. It's just all you're going to have is a chart with more years of nothing happening. If it hasn't happened in the last year, it's probably not going to influence the current price action. And here's the deal. The reason we use multiple time frames is looking for past moves, etc., and looking for areas of past market euphoria. And if it happened 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, odds are everybody's just kind of forgotten about it. It's just too far in the history. Now, if it happened, I'm recording this video in September. If it happened in March, there's a very good chance people remember that. People were trading that stock, they heard about it, etc. So it's in recent enough history to look for repeating cycles. So next is we're going to start adding these stocks that meet this criteria to my watch list and then prioritizing them. Now, a lot of you guys are on my daily webinar at 8:30 Eastern, and we do exactly this. We take the top stocks from the Oracle algorithm, which scans for price action, catalysts, volume, float rotation, all those things I just gave you. Then that's going to give you a basket of stocks. Then we're going to winnow that basket down even further. And then the way we kind of start out, usually we got about 10 stocks. Each day, day in and day out, there's 10 stocks that are in play. Now you can't trade, well, some people try and trade 10 stocks, very difficult, especially if you're new. But even me that's been doing it 20 years, I want to trade 1 to 3. That's usually kind of my goal. Ideally, it's just 1, and then I'm done for the day and go hunting and fishing. But 1 to 3 is what I recommend. So we want to take that 10 that match all of these criteria down to the best. So we're looking for the highest volume, lowest float, which is going to give us our highest multiple of float rotation. We're going to focus on the stocks. Now, not always do we have former runners. Like a lot of days, we don't have that past chart history, but I would tell you, if there is a former runner, gets moved up the list. But if you don't have any former runners, then we're going to be looking for, stocks with catalysts, particularly. So now, past history of running, float rotation, crazy volume, and when it comes to that catalyst, we want real, okay? We want something with real numbers, real hot sectors, like right now, this exact snapshot in time, if I see anything with like Bitcoin treasury or crypto treasury, those of you that are trading or have been watching, basically all summer and now into the fall, like these are the plays. Now those sectors are gonna change, but if we can have that hot sector coupled with all of the other criteria, it's gonna push that stock even further to the list. So now we've got volume, we've got technicals. So if you notice what we did with this process, we always start with the technicals: price, volume, float rotation, chart history. Those are all technicals. Those are all data points. But you're gonna have a lot of stocks that meet those technicals. Then we align the fundamentals with that. That could be the catalyst, that could be the sector, that could be, all of these things that are kind of outside of the chart. And then we want to bring those two together to then decide on the best, ideally less than 5 opportunities. So now we've gone from literally in 10 minutes, this doesn't take that long once you put in your reps and put in your time, we've gone from 20,000 stocks to, maybe 100 on scan, then 10 that are low float with news. Then we rate the quality of that catalyst, look at the sector, and we get down to less than 5. Then we look to write a trade plan to actually execute on them. When I talk about this process, it's heavily derived from the OODA loop. Okay, you might be familiar with the OODA loop, maybe you're not. John Boyd, fighter pilot instructor, wrote a great book. It's not a trading book, but he talked about the observe, orientate, decide, and act process. And it's a constant feedback loop. So what we do with this watch list process is we follow the OODA loop. We observe via scan, we orientate via the chart and the technicals, then we decide on an actionable trade plan for entries, exits, stop losses, and goals. And then if the stock hits that entry, we act. Now, I'll save trade planning for another video. We probably have a bunch on the archive. I'll make sure to follow that up soon with another video on how to pick those entries and exits, stop losses, and goals. But now, in under 10 minutes, you've gone from 20,000 stocks to less than 5, and you've got an actionable attack on the day. So that's how I build a trading watch list in under 10 minutes. No fluff, just focus, not wasting hours, minutes. It gets you in front of the opportunities before they explode. Scan smart, filter hard, and only trade setups that check the boxes. I'm telling you, less is more.